I guess we'll find out, huh? How are we doing? Wow, overwhelming. Oh, I'm amazing. Always good when I get to teach. It's a nice day. You enjoy PT this morning?
Yeah, that's pretty great.
No. Why not?
Oh, I have an exam today. It's my back end.
That's all you have to do? So the single best thing for your mind is exercise, and you're like, I don't want to do that?
Well,
okay. Sounds good.
if you're not sleep deprived.
What do they call it? A Hail Mary run or something like that? I met a student who's like run around the building and say a prayer before every test. Like just get his heart rate going. I think because he hadn't studied. How do you feel when you succeed?
Really good.
Good?
Fantastic.
Fantastic? Okay, good. What else? Accomplish? Okay. What else? What?
Almost said relieved.
Relieved? Relieved why? Huh? Because you didn't fail? Okay. Is it because you did good, or like because you got lucky, or like you feel like you put in the work?
I mean, I succeeded on it.
Okay. Trent, what do you got?
I agree with relieved because like whenever I do something, I feel relieved after it's done. Like,
Okay.
I'm good on it. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Okay. All right. So we're done. I'm over with that, and I just move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Who else? How do you feel?
Sometimes it's kind of surprising, honestly.
What? Why?
So last Friday, I had my statistics exam at 8, and statistics is like my hardest class this
Yeah.
semester. I don't know how this happened, but I got 100, and that's like the first time I've ever done that
On a
an
test?
exam in like college, other than like some blow-off class like Mela Science. And like I don't know what happened. I was like in surprise.
You don't know? You honestly don't know?
I mean I studied and I put in the work, but like I'm kind of surprised that I got that high of a grade. You know, I wasn't really expecting that. You know, 211.
Okay. What's your major?
MET,
Okay.
so engineering.
Yeah. I never had a statistics class until my PhD, and I had to take 2 of them. And I am a terrible statistician. This is what I've learned. Now, I know what a statistician should do. Same thing with accounting. Never had an accounting class till my master's. I'm a terrible accountant. But now I understand what an accountant should be doing. So you get better. All right, good for you. Okay. What else? How do you feel? Could be anything. Could be PT, grades, relationships. Pressure, why?
Like, I don't know. Like for like tests and stuff, if I do good on the first one and the next one's like cumulative, I feel like I should be pressured to do good on the next one. It's like it builds.
Okay, so
only
if you
some things though.
Oh, say that again.
Only some things.
Okay, so academically.
Yeah.
All right, so if you do good on the test, you feel pressure for the next one.
Yeah.
Is it a good pressure? Is it bad pressure?
Both. I mean,
Okay.
It can be good. It makes you want to work harder, I guess.
Okay. Justin, you agreeing or?
Yeah, I think so. It's like when you accomplish something, you've got like an hour to celebrate, and then you've got to pick up the next one. It's like
Okay. Who doesn't? Who feels like a void? Like there's no like you succeeded at something and you don't know what's next. Or there's not another goal. Wes?
I don't know. I feel like just more like relieved that it's over.
Okay.
Generally, because if something's like hard enough to where I have to put in a ton of work, and then you succeed in it, it's like, yeah, I'm just glad it's done.
Just glass done. Okay. All right. Ryan, you had your hand up?
Yeah.
What? Explain.
About.
When you succeed and then the next thing.
Oh, well, just like sometimes the joy you think you're gonna get from success isn't actually as much as it's worth. Like it's an empty success. It feels unpurposeful, depending on what you're succeeding at.
It's an empty success. Why?
Because achieving what you wanted wasn't actually what you thought it would be.
Okay. Why?
Expectations and reality.
Okay. Why? So give me an example. Like what would make you feel that way?
There's a few things, but
Give me one.
I don't know, man.
Academics.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Like if you spend like you're trying to get like a top ranking in your class in high school or something. This is what I did. Like I wanted to be the top ranking in my class or something like that. Spent a lot of time on like grades and stuff. And then oh sweet, I got that, and then you were like, well, this is worthless. I traded high school for a stupid number.
Was
So
it
you-
worthless? I mean, here you are.
No, yeah, but like you succeeded, but it wasn't what you wanted. So you got success, but you're like, this sucks
Why does it suck?
because it's not what you wanted. It's what you thought you wanted.
Okay, so you're aiming at a goal, you think it's the right thing, and then you get there and you're like, nah, I don't really want it.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, Caitlin?
I would agree with what he said because I had the same experience with high school, but it was less like it wasn't what I thought I wanted, and like I feel like it wasn't worth it. Like I felt like I wasted my time. Like I was like sitting on stage, like with like the little plaque in your hand that said you were like top 5 or whatever, and was thinking about
Humble
like,
brag.
well, yeah, but I was thinking about like all of like the birthdays and football games or like events and like stuff like that that I didn't go
Yeah.
to study,
Hmm.
and I still, sometimes you still get automatic admission based off of like test scores, and so that GPA is like it's nice, but then when you get to college and like everyone was like top 10% of their class, and it's like you're normal, and so but I don't know, you just feel like you like wasted your time that you could have made memories and enjoyed life instead of working so
But you
hard
want to
for-
be a physician, right?
yeah.
You're going to have to give some shit up?
Yeah. And I mean, you have, but it's like, they're not going to look at my high school GPA. They're going to look at my college GPA. And
But it was to get you in here, right? Which is to get you into medical school.
yeah. It's sometimes, like, I agree with what he's saying. Like, you're sitting there after you've accomplished this thing that you thought was going to be life altering. And you realize, like, maybe like those memories with people would have meant more to you than just like a number on a paper that no one's going to care about in 6 months. But
Okay? Tom, someday.
I have kind of the opposite thing to that. I did not do well in high school.
I was just going to ask who feels like they wasted time at parties, goofing off with friends.
But I did really well on my test scores to get in.
Yeah.
So once I was here, I felt like I wasted my time learning how to study and learning how to actually do work. Once I was in college,
Okay.
I felt like behind people who did put in a lot of work.
So once you got here, it was harder? What do you mean?
A little bit, yeah. It was like I wasn't used to. I didn't do homework ever.
Right.
Like in high school.
Okay.
And once I got here and had to actually do that, it was like a big adjustment and harder for me because you couldn't just rely on taking a couple standardized tests to get in.
Who took a pretty hard hit this year in grades? Who of you guys who did well in high school? Think it wasn't hard?
Yeah, it
Wasn't that hard, or not that much effort?
Yeah.
And then you came here and what happened?
I just bagged in.
Alexander, what happened?
I overestimated how well I would do in classes and took a couple of really difficult ones that I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And then between that and adjusting to college, I just screwed myself over.
Okay. Nice, Dylan.
I mean, I didn't do the best in high school, but also I guess I don't want to. Never mind, I'm not gonna say because it would be a bad humble time.
Spill it.
But I'm okay.
It's a safe place.
I mean,
Half of you are asleep anyway.
the high school I went to was I don't know. USS News said it was the sixth best high school when I got accepted.
It was a what?
The sixth best high school in the nation.
Public or private?
Public.
Okay.
And the majority of the classes were AP classes and stuff like that from freshman year. And so I came in with a decent amount of credits. And I think just adjusting to not being in one spot from X amount of time to X amount of time while the classes were generally the same difficulty, it was just I don't have a desire to go to classes sometimes, and I still don't have a desire.
I know. I can tell.
So, yeah, so I mean, and then it's also freshman year, and it's not I mean, I guess we're all juniors at the same time, but when we were going into core grass, I didn't want to be in that hallway. I never wanted to walk into that hallway, so I think I skipped a few solid days of classes just to not have to leave my room. So, yeah.
That's hilarious. Okay, so what do you got, Ryan?
Okay, I do want to make a distinction. I'm not saying that everything in high school was for naught. I regret it.
not assuming that.
If you're asking how you feel when you succeed, sometimes I think what you're striving for doesn't measure up to the cost that
Sure.
you paid for it.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying. So when you come to that realization, the feeling of success is like, I don't know, it's just shitty. It's not like, oh, I accomplished something. It's like, damn, that wasn't worth it.
How often does that happen though?
More than it should.
Really?
Yeah. I think a lot of it's really common with the big societal ones. I've heard a lot of stuff about like famous people and major successful athletes get there to build their life around it,
Yeah.
and they're like, this is kind of empty.
Sure. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Right? But it depends on what you're striving for and what you want. But that's fairly common to reach a goal and find out. But you don't know until you try, right? And most of you don't know until you reach your goals. For a lot of you, just getting in A&M was the life goal, right? For a number of years, just getting here, right? And then you got in, and it was like, yeah, okay, here I am, right? And now you got to figure out what's next, and you better figure that shit out quick. It's March of your junior year. You are hurtling towards the end. Some of you are going to be here a while. Just picking on Trey. Just make sure he's awake. Okay. How quickly has the last 2.5, almost 3 years gone by? Woo! Just trying to get those boots. When you wear them for a few months, and then adios. Go figure your shit out. Go make a life for yourself. Good luck. Bye. I'll still be here, and then there'll just be more cadets. It's awesome. Okay. Now, okay, we digress a little. Okay. Who's responsible for your success? When you do good, when you succeeded, who's responsible? What's the face for?
Let's see where it goes first.
No, who's responsible?
It varies depending on what it is, because if it's like, for example, I don't know his name, but he said he got 100 on his test.
James.
It's not like there's like someone else like telling him. Well, there might be like pressure from his parents or something about doing good on a test, but for doing good in his classes in general. But for that test, there wasn't really anyone else other than him to make him want to study, to make him want to do that. Whereas like sometimes when we're younger, and maybe there's like a sport we want to do, and we get really good at the sport. And sometimes for me, it was like my dad. He really helped me with like the sport I wanted to do. He encouraged me to get better at it, and so I would contribute some of my success to him as well
Okay.
as myself.
Okay. James, was there pressure?
I mean, there's always pressure to do good.
From
Trying to suck for my parents. I mean, for my family. Like my
Okay.
brother's going to a much more difficult school, double majoring, getting like 4.0, and then there's me over here, barely off of academic probation. So yeah, there's pressure.
I appreciate
but,
your honesty.
But
Fantastic.
you know,
That sucks.
but we're not. We don't compare ourselves at all. Definitely not. But,
Okay, that's fine. So who was responsible for the 100 though?
But I am. Yeah. No, I think that's on us. I think that in this class, I feel like it's sometimes we want to be humble and give you the like.
Oh yeah, you guys
textbook
do. It's
answer,
really annoying.
give you like the textbook answer, but like
Yeah,
the
it drives me nuts.
honest
Don't
answer
do
is, like that's on me. Like I did the studying, I did the work.
Okay, cool. I'll take it. So what sport, Dylan?
It was lacrosse.
Lacrosse. Okay. So was you making the team and succeeding from your dad, from you, from both?
Well, I mean, I mean, it's not like
They wrote the check?
Lacrosse in Houston isn't like a massive like sport.
Right, but you cited that your dad pushing you was a part of the reason you succeeded.
Yeah, so like I mean like he would be involved with like, hey, if you want to like go work on ground ball, if you want to like go do this, like,
Yeah.
during my free time, so he would help push me to that, which I would say made me a better player
Okay.
for my team.
So when you guys succeed, is it just you guys? What do you got, Josh?
I think there are many forces that exert pressure on a situation
Okay.
that affects the outcome of it. Like for example, with the analogy of lacrosse or a team sport, you can measure success in winning a match or a game, right? Sure, it comes down to every single person putting in work and effort in that game, but ultimately
Mhm.
It largely depends on the situation you're talking about, whether
Sure.
who's responsible.
Yeah, it always depends. Okay, so let's stick with lacrosse. If Dylan has a good game and they lose, was there success? No?
Yeah.
Maybe.
It depends on what.
Who said yes?
I did.
Why?
Because like you're still learning and improving. Because I also did like travel across in Houston,
Okay.
and even if like even if we lost or like our team did bad, if I did well, I felt like I accomplished something.
Okay. What if you had a shitty game and the team won?
Then I failed.
Okay. But the team won, right?
Yeah.
So did you play a part?
Yeah. I was goalie, so if they should have scored more than that,
Okay.
they scored on me.
Okay. Josh?
It largely depends on what your goal is. If your goal
Sure.
is intrinsic to like get better in that game, play the best of your ability, then you succeeded.
Yeah.
Even if the team itself loses, but if the goal is just to win the game, regardless if you have a good or bad game, the goal has been achieved.
Yeah, say you're not very good, right? You're starting out, you're not very good, you get some playing time, maybe you got a little better, team won, all right? Or you're on a shitty team, but you're the best player. So if all these things factor in, right, where are you at? We have Switzerland over here, not deciding. You're like, let's see what happens. Okay? So other things contribute to your success sometimes, right? The fact that you're here, your professor laid out what's expected on the test, right? And then you went out and did the work. Okay? Pat yourself on the back. Feel good. So does the core help you succeed?
Yes. Yes.
Suppose. No? You say no?
Yeah.
Why not? We got yeses sometimes, people laughing and smiling, very confused. Okay? Thomas says no. Why not?
At least in academics,
It doesn't help.
it doesn't help. I've transferred from another school. I went to University of Houston first,
Mm-hmm.
and I did much better at academics,
Okay?
not dealing with core stuff.
Okay.
And just like being able to go to class in whatever uniform, whenever, and all that. And then I came here and everywhere brought us to class significantly like made me skip more. And
Why?
also, it sucks. I don't know.
Why?
It's annoying.
Not even, but why? Like what? Why? Why?
Why does what?
Why does wearing Bravos make you skip class? Why were you doing better at UH than you're doing here?
Because I am lazy.
Okay, why'd you come here then? Why are you in the court?
I don't know.
Common answer. I don't know why I'm here. Some others? Okay, who said yeah? Caitlin, where are we at?
Academically, I don't think it helps you succeed at all.
Okay.
I do think it helps you like succeed as like a leader and like figuring out who you are
Okay.
and like what actually motivates you.
Is that going to make you a better physician?
Yes, it will make you. Okay, it has taught me how to deal with people that in a way that I wouldn't have gotten to if I was a non-reg. Like being thrown into environments where you're like faced with like really interesting situations and stuff that you wouldn't really be challenged with if I was in organizations outside of the core, which is kind of what I was looking for. I was looking for like ED and leadership experience, but academically it has made making good grades so much harder, at least for me, because it's like most of my classes require so much outside time that conflict with formation and afternoon training times and meetings on the weekends or like in the evenings where I'm supposed to be in study sessions, but I end up doing core stuff instead. And so I've had a hard time with the academic side of it,
Mhm.
but like personally and professionally, it has developed me in a way that no other organization I believe could have.
Okay.
So it's a give and take. I mean, my academics have suffered, but my personal development has grown more than it could have. So
Who's found that the course helped their academics? Why? Why? Who hasn't spoken yet? You two? Did you raise your hand?
I think it helps because like one with the time boosts that she's talking about, those are definitely there. They are definitely there. But it's made me learn how to actually schedule my time and use it effectively.
Okay.
For God's sake, I'm using a Google Calendar. Like I've never used that before until like.
When did you start?
I started like last semester.
Okay,
Last
cool.
semester, too late.
Brandon, something to add?
Same, just learn how to use time.
Okay. When you take SOMS 42, for me, I always ask the seniors, what is something you wish you knew when you were younger, like freshman or sophomore? And I'm doing that right now, and it's great. And then I actually try to give them the opportunity to go talk to the 281 class, the sophomores, because you guys don't cross-pollinate across outfits hardly ever. And so without having like core staff and like a mandatory meeting, it gives some seniors the opportunity to talk to some sophomores. And one of mine that I wrote, he's a great student, star in his uniform, engineer, sharp kid. And he was like, for the love of God, fish widely, set up Google Calendar. Okay, like that was one of the things, was just time management that he set himself up to help him when he was younger. So, okay, good, I'll take it. Have you ever stopped to help somebody fix a flat tire?
Yep.
Yes? Why? Caitlin?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
I'm just singling you out because, were you alone?
No, I was with my brother.
Okay, just check. I was like, safety reasons. I have daughters, right? I worry.
No, I was with my brother, but I don't know, I guess someone did the same thing for me.
Okay.
Graduation trip, me and some friends traveled down to Galveston from Wichita Falls, and we ended up getting flat going through Houston,
Mm-hmm.
and just literally on the side of the highway.
Where were you guys?
I mean,
Selfish.
someone stopped and helped us out.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't know, it's like we were doing the same thing for them. Ours was like, two like little, obviously just got their license, like 16-year-old girls, and so me and my brother just helped them because they had no idea what they were doing.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Good. I'll tell you who else. Who else said yes? Yeah. Why?
I mean, personally, I think selfless service is like one of my top personal values, and I mean, I like helping people out when I can.
Yeah.
And I was going to a buddy's house, and I happened to have my, I don't know what we were doing. I had a jack in the back of my truck anyway, and they had like one of those like camper trailers, and it had a flat, and they were obviously from out of town, and so I just called my buddy, told him I was gonna be late, and I stopped and
Good.
asked if they needed help, and they did.
Okay. Who's driven right past? Why?
I don't have a jack or anything.
Didn't have anything? It's all in the car. It's all in the car that's got a flat tire. Okay. Who else? Who drove past? Why, Ryan?
100% honest. I don't think I know how to change those tires.
I have friends that don't know how to change tires. It drives me nuts. Okay. Simple. Who does not know how to drive a stick? Yeah. Manual. That's amazing. Okay.
I could probably figure it out. I mean, you're
Probably not.
Sacrifice your engine.
Probably not. Okay. Especially if it's like a sports car, where it's real sensitive. Probably not. Okay. You can try. If it's an old truck, you might be a little forgiveness in there. Okay. Okay. Cool. Good. I'll take it. Ever stop and introduce someone eating alone?
Yep.
Who did? There's multiples. How'd it go? Why? Karen? What'd you do?
I do it all the time.
Why?
Like, I actually take time out to, like, go to the MSC or, like, anywhere and, like, just do it and talk to people.
You're just wandering around looking for lonely people?
No, like, well, kind of, sometimes.
Why?
Or, like, if I am gonna have lunch if I see someone and they're alone and I just, like, I wanna be their friend, so.
Okay.
Not
I-
just their friend, but, like,
Do you bring home like lost puppies and kittens? Are you gonna do that the rest of your life?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Are you gonna like if there's puppies on the side of the road? Are you always gonna like rescue it, bring it home?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't
You have
know.
like 40 dogs by the time you're 30. Okay. What's the result? What happens?
It's good. I get to know about them, and even if it's just like a short minute talk,
Mhm.
or so, and where I get to know about them, and or they tell me things about what's going on in their life,
Mhm.
and or like I get to share like about like if they like if I like sometimes they'll ask me to pray for them, and so I'll pray for them, and like it's like an opportunity for me to share the gospel as well.
Mhm.
So that's one other thing.
Okay.
But it's just a good conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Who has wanted to and chickened out? What? Chaplain. Good chaplain, bad chaplain.
Yeah. Just bad social anxiety. I have no idea what I would say to them.
Why not? What would you say?
I could easily strike up a conversation. I don't know what I would. It's just social anxiety of having to do it.
Just literally trying to talk to a stranger.
Yeah.
Are you introverted, extroverted?
Very introverted.
Okay.
Once I get to know you, once I get to know people, I'm very introverted.
Okay, so wouldn't that's what? So how the hell do you get to know them?
I don't know. Usually it's just forced situations. Like in the Corps, I was just forced to get to know all my buddies. So now we're good friends.
Where are my introverts? Okay. You know how you got friends?
Extrovert.
Because the extrovert found you and took you under their wing and introduced you and showed you other people. And then you're like, oh, okay, I feel okay. You good? Thank your extroverted friends. Now, we need you. We learn a lot from you. You know why? Where are my extroverts? Yeah? Really? Give me more in class then. I believe you. Okay? You know why you need the introverts? Do you know why, Ryan? Because they listen. Look, the introverts actually take things in. They listen in class. Jacob never says anything unless I call on him. Same with Michael. Okay? But they listen. They take things in. And you need them because extroverts, we're just loud and talking and all the other things. Like we don't hear things. We don't pick up on things as well. Right? So you need each other. You're in a good spot. Okay. Try it. Do you ever check in on fellow cadets? Yes? Sometimes. I don't know. Was she the first corps commander? Female corps commander?
She was the first female corps commander.
Yeah, that's probably why. Okay.
LLC wall.
No, it was 4 or 5 years ago.
I think 16 or 17.
Yeah, I don't know. It's while I've been teaching here. I don't know her, but I just needed a corps picture. Okay. Do you check in on cadets? No. Okay. Yes. What do you do, Josh?
Stop on the door, ask how they're doing, how their classes are, just start a conversation.
Okay. Buddies, underclassmen.
Buddy, especially the freshmen.
Okay.
I do that.
Who doesn't? You said no.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like people I know.
Maybe people you know. Aren't you an Eagle Scout?
Yeah.
Way to help the community, bro. Okay. Why not?
How big is your community?
How big is your community? There's 2,200 cadets.
I don't know, like I only really talk to like 10 people
Okay.
most of the time.
Okay. This is a serious subject. All right. There have been multiple suicides in the past few years. Fish, okay, in the Corps, have killed themselves. There were not, from what I understand, there were not necessarily signs. There were not the textbook indicators, from what I understand. I think there were some, all right, but not necessarily the red flags that we pick up on. If you check in on somebody, do you actually listen? Yeah? Okay. I hope so, because most of us don't. Why don't you check in on people? And there's nothing wrong with it. You're not alone. You're not the only one. So why not?
I just don't know them.
Don't know them? Okay. Who else does not check in? Trent?
I check in when I guess.
Okay. Others? Who does not really check in on people?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Why would you, why not?
Like usually like if I hear like, oh, this person had a bad day or something like that, then I might,
So you need a cue.
yeah.
Okay. So if you're walking by somebody and you say, man, how you doing? They say, I'm good. Then you think they're good?
Well, I mean, usually when you walk, like I don't know, because like in relation to the last question about would you go sit with someone alone, my answer is no. Because
And that's fine. This is different.
Because because it has like a little bit to do with it. Because I don't really like make conversation. I guess to say I usually like let the other person lead the conversation, and I feel
Okay.
like when you're going to check in on someone, you need to be like take control like of the conversation. Like, how are you doing? No, I'm doing fine.
Do
But
you,
then
though?
You have to have like some follow up questions to that. And I just don't have those follow up questions.
But what do you got?
I do check in on people, but sometimes it's hard because you know that there's going to be like a difficult conversation, or maybe a conversation that you not necessarily know how to handle.
Okay.
By going and checking in.
Here's why I think you don't. You don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Say it. You have your own stuff. We all have our own crap. We've got our own tests to study for. We've got our own PT we're worried about. Okay? We all have our own crap. And this is kind of natural where you are in life. You're very selfish. Horrible people. You were in particular. Okay? You're generally the selfish state in life. And that's okay. It will evolve. How many of you call up your parents? None of you call your parents. But how many of you call your parents and unload the problems that you have? So, well, yeah. Okay, introvert. Okay, you got to have somebody to talk to.
I call her on a weekly, or I call my family on a weekly basis.
Okay, you just unload your problems.
Yeah, I just talk about like whatever happened during the week.
Do you ever ask them how they're doing? Do you care?
Yeah, because there's some like family issues there going on.
Okay, cool. I hope you do. All right. Most of you don't. Most of you don't talk to your parents. There's just text or whatever. Okay. But where you are in lives, it's really difficult to actually cue in what's wrong. Are you okay? If somebody says, "Yeah, I'm good," right? Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. Right? It's something that we don't do. We don't actually listen. Rarely. We can't even make it 50 minutes of you guys listening to me. What? James, prime example. Way to come through in the clutch, but okay. It's really hard. You have your own shit, and sometimes you're just checking in because you think you have to. How you doing? I'm good. Okay, cool. I'm out. Got my own shit. I got to go to class. All right, I'm going to rec. Whatever. I'm going to bag in. Okay. Declan, what do you got?
I found that like I know my sophomores really well. I know my buddies really well. My seniors not as well as my sophomores, but like checking in on people, like passing them all the time, like knocking on the hatchway. It's like even with like that good or like just hey, how are you doing? Oh yeah, I'm all right. Like you can kind of tell like with the way they hold themselves.
I hope so. You can usually pick up on it. Because most people won't say, I'm having a really shitty day. I'm having a really tough time. If they do, I hope you then stop and follow through. Ryan, what do you got?
I think you were saying that everybody would like to just want to talk. I think that like that issue, part of that issue about why people don't say things because people don't want to talk. I think the way that you solve this is actually being the person who tells your buddies, hey, I'm having a shitty day. Then they'll tell you back later.
Most people like to talk about themselves.
Most people don't talk about this stuff.
It depends on what the environment situation is. You're first sergeant, right? They should feel comfortable coming to you and telling you things. Then that's a good sign. That means they trust you. But if we're just checking in on somebody, or we don't know them, or if we don't think it's sincere, then I would agree with you. If you're not genuinely sincere, if you're not a first sergeant, or who doesn't care about people? Who doesn't like people? Okay, Wes. Yes, prime example. I know Wes a little bit, so I can pick on him. If Wes is passing through and he's like, "Hey man, how you doing?" I'm like, not great. Do I think Wes is really gonna stop and be like, "Oh man, why?" He's probably not. He's gonna go to the rec and try to lift, right? Right?
Probably.
Yeah, Wes doesn't give a shit. So I'm probably not going to tell him. If I do, then I'm really crying for help. Probably. Okay, if I got to pick between you two, and I know you, and you're first sergeant, I'm supposed to be able to come to you, or I got to pick Wes, probably not going to Wes. Okay?
But if Wes came to you 2 weeks earlier
Yeah,
and said, hey, can we talk about something? I'm not having a good day.
yeah.
Then you pass him in the hall and he asked you how your day's going.
Okay?
Set some of that precedent, regardless if the man wants to go to the rec or not.
Right.
Are you going to be more open to actually answer that question?
I hope so. I hope so.
So I think sometimes it's important to be more, or for them to see that,
Show some vulnerability.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying, it helps with, if they're trying to avoid something or trusting you, sometimes telling them a little bit about you.
Yeah.
It helps.
I would agree. The caveat here, though, is somebody tells you, I'm having a shitty day. Why? My dog died. And then you say, oh, I had a dog that died too. Does that help? No, your dog sucks. My dog was awesome. I don't give a shit about your dog. Okay? My dog was the best dog ever. Now, that tends to be what people do because we're trying to assimilate. Oh, I'm sorry your dog died. I had a dog that died too. That can be okay, but don't make it about you and what you happened. I had a senior the other day, 42, we talked about, it's a lot of fun, but we talk about some very serious subjects, and he left the room the other day. And I don't know him that well. I haven't had him in class before. And he came back, and then he told me, because of what we're going through, which is a very serious situation, that his brother had committed suicide. And I didn't know that. He told me after class, there's nothing I can say to him that will make him change how he feels or feel better about the situation. And I have to recognize that. There's not a single damn thing I can say that will make him feel any better or differently about his brother taking his own life. I don't think I knew that 20 years ago. So just something to be aware of when somebody's grieving. Look, one time I grew up playing soccer, loved soccer, and one year I didn't make the team, right, and I was devastated. And all everybody kept telling me about was something that had gone shitty in their lives. I was like, oh, I'm sorry that terrible thing happened. And I remember thinking, this is such a terrible way to grieve. But it tends to be what we do. I'm sorry that something happened shitty to you a long time ago, but I'm not sure how that helps me. Now, the goal is to try and get people to understand that you'll survive and you'll get through it, and I overcame it. But it's really hard to do that in the moment. And I think that's just what we have to be aware of.
Since you're on the platform, what do you do? If you
Understand that you can't, that you just have to listen sometimes.
so just listen.
So, yes, sometimes. Look, this is marriage. Dudes, we're going to split sexes here a little bit, and I'm not trying to be sexist. I'll tell you how I have failed as a guy. Okay? My wife will tell me problems. And I'm like, well, here's what you do. Shut the fuck up. She doesn't want me to tell her what to do. She knows what to do. She just wants me to listen, and I'm a fixer. So it's really hard. I want to fix and solve the problem. She doesn't need me to fix and solve the problem. She knows. Wes, you smiling? Same?
Yeah, my girlfriend and I, we have a system where it's like, if she complains a lot about a lot of things. Generally, I'm not involved. Generally. And so she'll start going and I'll like stop and be like, do you want me to fix the problem or you just want to bitch about it?
Yep.
I just want to bitch about it.
Yes. It's just unloading, okay? And here's the you know what guys think about all day long? Nothing. There's nothing going on up here.
I don't know.
It's beautiful. What?
My brain's
You
going
got shit running all the time?
all the time.
Awesome. Okay. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. Women, and there's only a few of you, I'm sorry, you're grossly outnumbered today. You guys have like 1 million web browser tabs open and they're all running at the same time. Am I right? Yeah. We're so dumb. We are such uncomplicated creatures. And y'all are so complicated. And we have no idea what to do. Okay? So what I'm saving you in your marriage is you don't have to solve the problem. Sometimes you just need to shut up and listen. And it's hard if you're wired like me and probably like Wes. I want to help you. Don't need your help. Just shut up and listen to me. Okay?
Sometimes.
No, I'm going Caitlin first.
I always say, he said, like, what do you do? I mean, honestly, one of the things that I found with people is sometimes talking is, like, exhausting. Like, they've had a crappy day, they don't
Sure.
know what to do, they're lost, and they just want company. So, like,
Yeah.
what I would do is I would, like, pick up my laptop and just go. Don't, like, force them to talk to you. Don't force them to, like, explain everything that's going on. Just, like, sit with them and they do homework. Or, like, sit there and, like, put on music or put on a TV show and, like, do your own thing. They do their own thing. And if they want to talk, your continued presence will make them relax and they'll talk to you if they want to. If not, you just made their day by just keeping them company when they're feeling down. So it's like, sometimes people don't want to talk. And that goes for girls too. Like, I'm that way. I get drained. I get tired of, like,
Sure.
just anything like that. And sometimes you just want the company of somebody that you know, like, knows you, like, cares about you, and it's nice. Like, it's
Yeah.
relaxing.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan?
We derailed your presentation.
We
Not
did.
teaching class.
This is my presentation.
Perfect, okay.
This is the goal of SOMS.
Okay, but like the whole just listen thing, I get that, but at least.
But-
No.
But,
I'm taking you through my process, what I've been thinking about.
okay?
It's really hard for me not to not talk and not to not try to empathize with them, but to like actually not talk, but like sit there in what maybe is a conversation and somehow just like not say anything. I don't know how to fill it. I don't know how to move it along. Like if somebody comes to you, the first line out of my mouth is like, "Hey, my brother just committed suicide." What do you do? Like you just cool? Like I'm sorry for you.
What do you think you should do? What's a natural thing to say?
I don't know.
What would you do? That's a serious situation. What would you say?
I'm legitimately telling you, I don't know how to navigate that conversation without trying to say something that moves it towards like empathizing. I don't know how to continue a conversation that's just geared towards listening.
Sorry for your loss. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah.
It's literally that simple. I'm sorry, what can I do? Or do you want to talk? Go ahead.
I go a little bit more broad, but you ask them what they would like to do or what you can do to help. Like, I'll propose options. I'll be like, well, I mean, obviously not for their brother committing suicide, but generally when something's wrong, it's like, would you like me to take you out to go get boba, or do you just want to sit here and listen to music, or do you want to go on a walk, or do you want me to leave you alone for a little while, or would you like to talk about it tomorrow? Or like, what can I do to be of assistance during this time?
Do you know what consultants do? This is relevant. Do you know what consultants do? Who has any interest in being a consultant? Maybe later? No. Okay. Do you know what they do?
They consult people.
Ask questions. That's all. And make a boatload of money. Universities are notoriously bad for paying for consultants to come in. We've got all these experts on campus. They're like, let's go pay tens of thousands of dollars to hire somebody else. It's the dumbest thing in the world to me. But this happens in the business world all the time too. In every profession, military, civilian, bring somebody in to help us fix something. Okay. I've met a consultant. He goes, I don't need to know everything about your industry or a bunch of different industries. I only need to know which questions to ask. That's how they solve the problem, which is exactly what Justin was doing. All you need to do is ask questions. In that situation, what can I do? What do you need from me? Right? That will naturally move the conversation along because they're going to tell you. Or they're going to say, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. In which case, you'd be like, okay, let's figure this out together. I don't know either, but I'm going to help you. Right? Sometimes it's literally just, I need help, but they're not saying it that way. Does that make sense? Just being able to ask questions, man. If you don't know what to say, if you don't know what to say in a conversation, just ask questions. They'll fill it for you. Right? Most people are uncomfortable with silence. Right? Which is why I just wait when I ask questions in class. Because some of you will cave. And I go, I guess I have to talk. And Ethan's over here like, I don't have to say anything. It's glorious. I'll just wait. Somebody else will speak up. Okay. I don't ever have a set agenda for, I have an agenda. If conversations go long in SOMS, I don't ever want to stop them. I've got multiple weeks to finish this stuff. So, relevant. And again, all I'm doing today is asking you questions, if you haven't noticed. What is managing up? Does anybody know? Has anybody heard this? Anybody in Maze? Anybody in the business school? All right, well, that's one excuse.
I have an idea. I don't think it's correct, though.
All right, what do you got? What do you think it is?
I think it's basically just kind of mutual accountability, kind of like organization from the ground up.
Yeah, you're along the right lines. Alexander, you good? All right. Managing up is how you manage your supervisors. They don't just manage you. You have to manage them. Okay, because you're going to have good ones and you're going to have bad ones. And you have to deal with it. You ever had a bad coach? Right? Or a shitty teacher? Right? You have to deal with it. What do you got, Michael? Why are you smiling? What'd you do about it? Did you do anything about it?
Yeah. I usually went and try to find other teachers like lecture notes, and I could look at those.
Okay.
And try to understand the subjects better.
Okay. You have to train a supervisor how you want to be treated. Right? You have to let them know what kind of person you are. Now, here's the disadvantage. You're the one that has to adjust. Right? If they are your direct supervisor, and this is really hard when you're new and you're young in the workforce. I would pick battles that I couldn't win sometimes because I felt wronged. It didn't matter. They were in charge. Right? So sometimes I'm picking the battles that hurt me, not them. Even if I was right, morally or ethically right, and I knew it and I believed it, doesn't mean I'm going to win that battle. So sometimes you have to not pick that battle. Conversely, sometimes you have to pick the battle you know you can't win. Sticking up for your buddies, sticking up for your sophomores, whatever it may be. You're not going to win the battle, but you need to show them that you went to war for them. That's how you manage up. This is a hard thing to do. This is you having to adjust to your supervisor, right, to show them how you can succeed under their system. But you can always game the system. Just like the core is a game, right? Took you a while to figure it out. Some of you still learning. Okay. Right? It's no different in the workforce. You have to learn how to manage your supervisor and how you want them to treat you and how you're going to treat them. Sometimes it sucks. Okay? I've had supervisors that did not like me, and I'm awesome and humble. But when I was younger, I had to change, but I didn't always appreciate that or recognize that. Right? So you got to be careful in picking those battles. Right? But it's a very valuable skill in life. I don't have time for that. Okay. There's Teddy Roosevelt. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. If you've had good supervisors or shitty supervisors, you can usually spot the difference. Core staff, leaders, right? Professors, coaches, whatever, managers. You can usually spot the good ones and the shitty ones. Most of the shitty ones don't care. They don't care about you. All right? It's how they manage. What Karen touched on earlier was you talk about just showing humility. Okay. George Washington, right? General, president, founding father, all that good stuff, badass. The guy was a dick. Okay? People, his soldiers did not like him early on in the Revolutionary War. He was tall. Right? He was really good looking. Right? Always up on a horse. How he presented himself. He never showed humility. And right before they go to cross the Delaware, they're cold, they're starving, they're going to go on this midnight attack, go across this frozen river. He's going to read something to his troops. And he pulls out some glasses. They had no idea he wore glasses because he never wanted anyone to see that. He pulled out his glasses, put them on, and read something to the troops. And that absolutely changed how they viewed him. He showed a little bit of humility. They knew he was a good general. They knew he was good at his job. It didn't like him. Right? Showed a little bit of humility, and it changed how they felt. And had to continue to do that. He was still learning how to lead. I'm gonna go over. This week's discussion is posted. Back to the book. We skip a chapter. It's chapter 6. So make sure you knock that out. I think that's it. Questions for me? Cool. Thank you for participating. It makes it a lot better when you're here and awake. Do you have a question? Oh, okay. All right. Go be awesome. Have a wonderful week.